47th ASEAN Summit News. The 47th ASEAN Summit was held in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia from October 26th to 30th, 2025. ASEAN Summit 2025 Key Highlights. Theme: Inclusivity and Sustainability. New members: East Timor, Timor Leste, is set to become the 11th member, marking its formal inclusion after gaining independence from Indonesia in 2002. Key focus: the summit will focus on US tariffs and assess to access to rare earth minerals, which are vital for high tech manufacturing and are predominantly produced by China. About Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN. It is a regional organization established to promote equality, economic growth, political stability, security cooperation among 10 Southeast Asian countries: Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. Founded on 8 August 1967, place Bangkok, Thailand. Established by the ASEAN Declaration, Bangkok Declaration. Founding members: Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. Motto: One Vision, One Identity, One Community. Headquarters: Jakarta, Indonesia. Economic profile: ASEAN countries together have a population of around 678 million and a combined GDP of approximately 3.9 trillion US dollars, according to the Office of the United States Trade Representative. Institutional mechanism of ASEAN. ASEAN Summit, the highest decision making body of ASEAN, held annually to discuss regional issues and set policy directions. Chairmanship rotates annually among state member states. ASEAN Coordinating Council ensures the implementation of decisions and agreements made by ASEAN's policy body. ASEAN Secretariat functions as the administrative and coordinating arm managing ASEAN's program and initiative. ASEAN Regional Forum (ARF) serves as a platform for dialogue and cooperation in political and security issues among ASEAN members and their external partners. India joined the ARF in 1996. Decision making process: all decisions within ASEAN are made through consultation and consensus, ensuring equal participation of all member nations. 20th East Asia Summit EAS 33. At the 28th East Asia Summit, leaders adopted the Kuala Lumpur Declaration on Peace and Stability, which promotes joint initiative under EAS Plan of Action 2024-28. Aligned with ASEAN 2045, our shared future. About East Asia Summit, Nature, a leader driven multilateral forum that facilitates dialogue and cooperation on key strategic, political, and economic issues to advance peace, stability, and prosperity in East Asian region. Origin: the EAS was established in 2005 with first summit held in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Format: it is an annual meeting attended by head of states or government of participating countries. Members: ASEAN member states: Australia, China, India, Japan, New Zealand, the Republic of Korea, United States, and Russia. Membership criteria for EAS: to join the EAS, a country must be a signatory to the ASEAN Treaty of Amity and Cooperation, hold the status of a formal dialogue partner at ASEAN, maintain substantive cooperation relation with ASEAN. 20th G20 Summit 2025 News: the 2025 G20 Leaders Summit held on 23 November in Johannesburg, South Africa, became the first G20 meet hosted on the African continent. About G20 Group of 20. G20 is an informal intergovernmental forum comprising 19 countries: Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Republic of Korea, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Turkey, the United Kingdoms, and the United States, along with the European Union and the African Union. It represents around 85% of global GDP, over 75% of global trade, and about two-thirds of the world's population. Established in 1999, in the aftermath of the Asian financial crisis, it aims to promote international economic cooperation and global financial stability. The G20 has no permanent secretariat. Its presidency rotates annually, assisted by a troika of previous, current, and next presidencies. During South Africa's presidencies, the Troika comprises Brazil, South Africa, United States. About G20 Summit 2025 theme Solidarity, Equality, Sustainability. Chosen by South Africa for its G20 presidency, the theme highlights the G20's core value of global cooperation, inclusive growth, and sustainable development. Key highlights G20 Johannesburg Leaders Declaration. G20 leader adopted a 122 paragraph declaration by consensus focusing on climate action, reforms in multilateral institutions, inclusive growth, and global governance. Ubuntu philosophy and multilateralism. The summit adopted the Ubuntu theme, I am because we are, stressing the interdependence of nations and the need for collective global action on inequality, conflict, climate change, and economic instability. Greater African Voice in Global Finance endorsed a 25th IMF Executive Board seat for Sub Saharan Africa and supported channeling over 100 billion US dollars in special drawing rights to the region. Debt Sustainability Framework strengthened the G20 Common Framework to make debt restructuring more transparent, predictable, and supportive for vulnerable countries. Climate action and disaster resilience recognized that developing countries require 5.8 to 5.9 trillion US dollars before 2030 and call for scaling up climate finance and resilience support. Just Energy Transition and Mission 300 supported tripling global renewable energy capacity and launched Mission 300 to provide electricity to 300 million Africans by 2030. Critical Minerals Framework adopted a new framework for sustainable mining, local value addition, and secure supply chain benefiting mineral rich developing nations. Global food security reaffirmed the right to food, supported African farmers, and promoted market integration through the African Continental Free Trade Area. AI and digital inclusion launched the AI for Africa initiative to ensure safe, inclusive, and human centric digital governance and expand digital access. Youth and gender targets set goal to reduce NEET youth by to 5% and achieve 25% gender parity in workforce participation by 2030. UN Security Council reforms pledged to make UNSC representation more inclusive, especially for underrepresented regions. Major initiatives proposed by India at G20 2025. G20 initiative on countries on the drug terror nexus targets narcotic trafficking and its linkage with terror financing, including synthetic drugs. G20 Africa Skills Multiplier Initiative plans to train 1 million certified trainers in Africa over the next decade to build local talent and jobs. Global Traditional Knowledge Repository aims to collect and share traditional knowledge for sustainable lifestyle, health, and well being, drawing on global indigenous wisdom. Global Healthcare Response Team proposes a network of trained professionals from G20 nations for rapid medical and humanitarian assistance during crisis. Open Satellite Data Partnership promotes accessible and interoperable data satellite data to help agriculture, fisheries, disaster management, and climate adaptation in developing nations. Critical Minerals Circularity Initiative focuses on say, recycling, urban mining, second life battery, and expanding value addition to ensure sustainable and equitable mineral supply chain. India Mongolia relations. India and Mongolia marked 10 years of their strategic partnership by signing important MOUs during the Mongolian president's visit to India. Key highlights 1. Development cooperation. India reaffirmed support for Mongol oil refinery project being developed through a 1.7 billion US dollars line of credit extended by India. Cultural engagement. A new MOU was signed between the Ladakh Autonomous Hill District Development Council and Arangai province of Mongolia, promoting cultural and civilizational links. Spiritual and academic cooperation. India will send the holy relics of Lord Buddha's disciple Sariputra and Madulayagna to Mongolia. A Sanskrit teacher will be deputed to Mongolia's Gandan monastery. India will support the digitization of 1 million ancient Buddhist manuscripts. Nalanda University and Gadan Monastery will be connected for stronger academic spiritual cooperation. 4. Other key areas of partnership free visas for Mongolian citizens traveling to India, exploration of third country port access to boost bilateral trade, strengthen collaboration in critical minerals, including uranium, resilient supply chains, and mining. Expansion of defense cooperation, including enhanced participation in military exercises such as Nomadic Elephant and Khan Quest. India will train Mongolian armed forces and set up a defense attaché wing in Ulaanbaatar alongside new training program for border security forces. India New Zealand Free Trade Agreement. News: India and New Zealand have concluded negotiations on a free trade agreement aimed at doubling their bilateral trade within 5 years. A free trade agreement is an agreement between countries to reduce trade barriers by lowering tariffs, easing service trade, protecting investment, and safeguarding intellectual property rights. Key highlights of the FTA: investment and market access. New Zealand has committed 20 billion US dollars investment in India over a 15-year period. A dedicated health and traditional medicine annex, the first of its kind signed by New Zealand with any country, enables cooperation and trade in health related services. Tariff liberalization commitments: 95% of New Zealand's export to India will face tariff elimination or reduction. 57% of imports into India from New Zealand will become duty free from first day, increasing to 82% after full implementation, while the remaining 13% will receive substantial tariff reductions. India has excluded sensitive sectors such as dairy, onion, sugar, spices, edible oil, rubber, rice, wheat, and soya from tariff concessions. Employment generation and export growth. The agreement is expected to support job creation in labor intensive industries like apparel, leather, textile, rubber, footwear, and home decor, while also boosting exports of automobiles, auto components, machinery, electronics, electrical goods, and pharmaceuticals. Service trade and professional mobility. Provision of 5,000 temporary employment visas per year for Indian professionals, each valid for up to 3 years. India secures market access in 118 service sectors and most favored nation MFN treatment in 139 sectors, improving prospects for Indian service providers. MFN is a WTO principle requiring equal trade treatment to all member countries. Sectoral coverage, services access span IT, engineering, healthcare, education, construction, along with specialized occupations such as Ayush practitioners, yoga instructors, chefs, and music teachers, thereby enhancing service trade and workforce mobility. Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC). The 2025 Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit was recently hosted in Gwangju, South Korea. About APEC establishment, APEC was set up in 1989 as a regional economic forum, secretariat located in Singapore. Membership comprises 21 member countries, including Australia, Canada, Chile, China, Indonesia, Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, Mexico, and the United States. India's status: India is not a member of APEC but participates as an observer. Mandate: APEC aims to foster a dynamic Asia Pacific region by advancing free and open trade and investment, strengthening economic integration, and enhancing regional cooperation. Gulf Cooperation Council Sakir Declaration. The Sakir Declaration was adopted at the 46th Gulf Cooperation Council (GCC) summit held in Manna, Bahrain. The GCC summit is a yearly meeting of the heads of GCC member states to assess cooperation and frame common regional policies. The 46th summit 2025 took place at Sakir Palace, Mannan, Manama, against the backdrop of heightened regional tensions. The Sakir Declaration is the official outcome document issued at the end of this summit. Major focus areas of the Sakir Declaration: economic cooperation emphasizes deeper economic integration through progress on the GCC common market, completion of custom unions, and expansion of joint water and energy connectivity initiatives. Technology and environment call for the strengthening of digital infrastructure cooperation in artificial intelligence and cybersecurity, and advancing climate action, clean energy, and marine ecosystem conservation. Security cooperation enhances collective defense and security by reinforcing counter-terrorism coordination, improving joint naval capabilities, and reiterating support for a nuclear weapon-free Middle East. Regional diplomacy and social priorities stresses support for Palestine, Syria, and Lebanon border global engagement, along with youth empowerment and safeguarding Gulf cultural identity. About the Gulf Cooperation Council, the GCC is a regional political and economic bloc established in 1981 aimed at promoting cooperation and collective security among Gulf nations. Members 6: Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates. Headquarters at Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Core objective: strengthening economic integration, coordinating defense and security policies, enhancing social and cultural ties, and addressing shared regional challenges. United Nations Human Rights Council UNHRC. News: India has been elected unopposed to the United Nations Human Rights Council for the seventh time, securing a 3-year term from 2026 to 2028. About Human Rights Council, it was established in March 2006 through a UNGA Resolution 61-251, which replaced the UN Commission on Human Rights. Mandate: the Council is tasked with promoting and safeguarding human rights across the globe, addressing violations, and making recommendations to enhance human rights standards. Headquarters: Geneva, Switzerland. Support mechanism: it receives technical and secretariat assistance from the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights OHCHR. Structure and membership. Composition: the Council is composed of 47 member states elected by UNGA for 3-year term. Regional allocation: the seats are distributed regionally: 13 for African states, 13 for Asian Pacific states, 8 for Latin America and Caribbean states, 7 for Western Europe and other states, and 6 for Eastern European states. Election process: members are chosen through a direct and secret ballot based on their record in promoting human rights. Term limit: a country may serve on the council for a maximum of 2 consecutive terms. A member of council can be suspended by two-third majority vote in the UNGA if found responsible for gross and systemic human rights violation. Non-member states may participate as observer in council session, but they do not possess voting rights. Sir Creek dispute. News: Defense Minister Rajnath Singh warned that any Pakistani misadventure in Sir Creek would invite a decisive Indian response, underlining its strategic sensitivity. About the Sir Creek dispute. Location: Sir Creek is a narrow, less than 100-kilometer long tidal estuary between Gujarat's Run of Kutch, India, and Sindh, Pakistan, forming the westernmost boundary between the two nations. Nature of dispute: the conflict arises from a colonial era border boundary interpretation with both sides citing different historical documents and maps. India's claim: India supports the Talweg Principle boundary along the deepest navigable challenge, backed by a 1925 map dividing the creek and adjacent marshland equally. Pakistan claim: Pakistan relies on a 1914 resolution between Rao of Kutch and Sindh government claiming the eastern bank as the boundary for greater coastal access. Strategic importance: Sir Creek lies close to Karachi and has military, economic, and maritime significance, affecting exclusive economic zones claim in Arabian Sea. EEZ extended 200 nautical miles from a country's coast, determine control over maritime resources and seabed minerals. International Convention for the Suppression of the Financing of Terrorism. News: Iran has officially ratified the UN International Convention for the Suppression of Financing of Terrorism (CFT). About International Convention for the Suppression of Financing of Terrorism. It was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 1999 and entered into force in 2002. It is one of the most widely supported global anti-terror instrument, with 188 countries, including India, having ratified it. The convention aims to criminalize and prevent terror financing and boost global cooperation against terror-linked financial networks. It defines terror financing as raising or providing funds directly or indirectly with intent or knowledge that they will be used for terrorist acts causing death or injury to civilians or non-combatants. United Nations Water Convention. Bangladesh became the first South Asian nation to join the United Nations Water Convention. About UN Water Convention. Convention on the Protection of Use of Transboundary Water Courses and International Lakes. It is a legally binding convention for sustainable management of shared water resources. Adoption and enforcement. Adopted in Helsinki in 1992 and entered into force in 1996. Original scope and expansion. Initially negotiated at the Pan European Regional Framework since March 2016, it has been open to accession by all UN member states. Core obligations require parties to prevent, control, and reduce transboundary impacts and ensure reasonable and equitable use of shared water resource. Cooperation mechanism mandates cooperation among riparian states through bilateral or multilateral agreements and the establishment of joint bodies for shared water. Framework nature acts as a framework convention. It does not replace basin specific agreements but promote their creation, implementation, and strengthening. Institutional support and significance. Serviced by United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, UNECE, and serves as a key instrument for achieving 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, particularly water-related SDGs, while also contributing to conflict prevention and regional cooperation. Australia Canada India Technology and Innovation Partnership. News. India, Australia, and Canada have launched the ACITI partnership on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Johannesburg. About ACITI partnership aim strengthen collaborative engagement in critical and engaging technology and innovation sector. Key focus area promotion of green and renewable energy innovation, securing and diversifying critical mineral supply chain, and enabling the responsible development and large scale adoption of artificial intelligence for societal and economic benefit. World Artificial Intelligence Cooperation Organization. News at the recent APEC Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation meeting in South Korea, China advocated the creation of a global body, WICO, to regulate artificial intelligence norm. About WICO, a proposed global body for governing artificial intelligence aimed at promoting shared rules, standards, and international cooperation in AI. Proposed by China, with the proposal articulated by Chinese President at the 2025 APEC summit. Guiding principles drawn from China's 2023 Global AI Governance Initiative emphasizes human-centric AI, data sovereignty, and algorithmic transparency. Proposed location and purpose likely to be based in Shanghai with the objective of setting global AI governance norms and promoting AI as public good. Second World Summit for Social Development 2025. The Second World Summit for Social Development WSSD was held in Qatar and India was represented by Union Labour and Employment Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia. World Summit for Social Development Background. WSSD is a United Nations convened series of global summits aimed at promoting social development, poverty eradication, and social justice. The first World Summit for Social Development was held in Copenhagen, Denmark in 1995, which marked a shift towards people centered development. The 1995 summit led to the adoption of the Copenhagen Declaration on Social Development and its program of action, forming the normative foundation for global social policy. About Second World Summit for Social Development 2025, convened by United Nations General Assembly through Resolution 78/261 and 78/318. Venue Doha, Qatar. Objective to recommit to the Copenhagen Declaration and Program of Action, addresses persistent challenges such as inequality and inadequate social protection, provides momentum for the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The summit led to the adoption of the Doha Political Declaration, reaffirming global solidarity for inclusive growth and social justice. Shutdown of US government. News. US President Donald Trump signed a stopgap bill ending the 43 days government shutdown, the longest in US history, triggered by a budget standoff between executive and Congress, marking the 11th shutdown since 1976. Occurs when Congress fails to pass annual appropriation or a stopgap funding law by October 1st, start of the US fiscal year. Under the Anti Deficiency Act, federal agencies cannot spend or pay employees without the approval funding, leading to partial or full closure. Why shutdown occurs in the US? Separation of powers. The US follows a presidential system with a clear separation between the executive and the legislature. The president cannot ensure passage of the budget in Congress. Budget failure does not cause the government to fall. Legislative gridlock. Political divisions between the House and the Senate delay budget approval. Many bills in the Senate require 60 votes, increasing the chances of deadlock. Policy dispute. Shutdowns often stem from disagreement on contentious issues. Example, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Pro. Why India does not face shutdowns? Parliamentary system. The executive is drawn from the legislature. Failure to pass the budget implies loss of confidence in the government. Vote in account allows continued government spending and preventing shutdowns. Gavi UNICEF agreement. Gavi and UNICEF signed a procurement agreement to make R21 Matrix M malaria vaccine more affordable and widely available in malaria endemic low and middle income countries. About R21 Matrix M malaria vaccine type next generation malaria vaccine developed by University of Oxford in partnership with Serum Institute of India. WHO status recommended by WHO in October 2023 for broader use became the second WHO approved malaria vaccine after RTS-S. About Global Alliance for Vaccine and Immunization, Gavi, Nature. Gavi is a public private global health partnership working to improve access to vaccines in low and middle income countries. Establishment launched in 2000 at the World Economic Forum, Davos, headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. Objective to expand access to life saving vaccines, reduce vaccine preventable disease, and strengthen immunization system. Function supports introduction of new vaccines, improve cold chain and delivery infrastructure, and promote equitable vaccine distribution. Key partners include WHO, UNICEF, World Bank, donor and recipients, government, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, vaccine manufacturers, and civil societies. India and Gavi. India graduated from Gavi support in 2017, is now a major vaccine supplier and contributor with Serum Institute of India playing a key role. India pledged US 10 million US dollars in the previous funding cycle. Gaza Peace Plan. News. The United Nations Security Council adopted US President Donald Trump's 20-point Gaza Peace Plan. About Gaza Peace Plan, a board of peace chaired by Donald Trump will act as a central authority to oversee Gaza's reconstruction and economic recovery. An International Stabilization Force (ISF) is proposed as a permanent international security mechanism for Gaza. The ISF will prevent arms inflow, ensure safe humanitarian movement, and maintain stability for rebuilding. Although the ISF will report to the United Nations Security Council, it will not be under direct UN command, remaining under the board's supervision. Transitional governance will be handled by an apolitical, technocratic Palestinian committee managing daily administration and public service. The plan envisages a future pathway to Palestinian self determination and statehood, subject to reforms in Palestinian Authority and stabilization of Gaza. Gaza's reconstruction will be funded through a World Bank backed trust fund, along with a prisoner hostage exchange involving Hamas releasing hostage and Israel freeing 250 life term prisoners and 1,700 detainees, including women and children. United Nations Alliance of Civilizations UNAOC News. India reiterated its commitment to Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam and religious harmony at the 11th United Nations Alliance of Civilizations meeting. About United Nations Alliance of Civilization, UNAOC is a United Nations initiative aimed at bridging cultural and religious divides, promoting intercultural dialogue, and countering extremism and societal polarization. Establishment. It was established in 2005 in the context of rising global tension in the post Cold War and post 9/11 era. Founder. The initiative was launched under former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. Co sponsor Spain and Turkey are the official co sponsoring countries of UNAOC. Secretariat New York, USA. Recent forums 2025. The 11th UNAOC forum was held in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, with the theme Two Decades of Dialogue for Humanity, advancing a new era of mutual respect and understanding in a multipolar world. Funding mechanism UNAOC activities are supported through a voluntary trust fund established by a UN Secretary General, funded by member states, international organizations, the private sector, and foundations, and administered by UN Secretariat. International Civil Aviation Organization. India has been re-elected to the ICAO Council with one of the highest mandates. About International Civil Aviation Organization. It is a specialized agency of the United Nations tasked with overseeing and coordinating international civil aviation. Founded in 1944, ICAO was established under Convention on International Civil Aviation, Chicago Convention. Headquarters, Montreal, Canada. Mandate: ICAO works to ensure safe, secure, orderly, and sustainable growth of global civil aviation. Membership: ICAO has 193 member countries, all of which are signatories to the Chicago Convention. India is a founding signatory. Key functions: it formulates standards and recommended practices and promotes aviation safety, security, efficiency, environmental protection, and capacity building. Organizational structure of ICAO. Assembly, the supreme decision making body consisting of all 193 member states, which meets once every 3 years to set policies, approve budget, and review ICAO activities. Council, a 36 member executive body elected by Assembly responsible for implementing policies, managing finances, and adopting SARPs. Secretary General serves as the Chief Administrative Officer, leading the Secretariat and managing day to day operation. International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance. The CEC Gyanesh Kumar assumed the chairmanship of International IDEA. About International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, it is an intergovernmental organization established in 1995 working to strengthen democratic institutions and electoral process worldwide. UN status, it has been granted as a observer status in United Nations. Objective: the institute aims to promote stronger, more effective, sustainable, and legitimate democratic system and processes. Membership: International IDEA has 35 member countries, and United States and Japan are observers, and India is a founding member. Secretariat, Stockholm, Sweden. Governance: governance includes a council of member states, steering committee, finance and audit committee, board of advisors, and a secretariat led by general secretary. Core work and focus area: it works involve knowledge generation, capacity building, advocacy and dialogue, focusing on electoral processes, constitution building, democracy assessment, political participation, climate change and democracy, and digitization and democracy. International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD. News: India highlighted its innovative progress in rural development, women's empowerment, and climate resilient agriculture at the IFAD India Day event in Rome. About International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD is an international financial institution and a specialized agency of the United Nations dedicated exclusively to reducing poverty and hunger in rural areas of developing countries. Establishment: it was founded in 15th December 1977 through a United Nations General Assembly resolution in response to global food and rural poverty challenge. Headquarters: Rome, Italy. Membership: IFAD has 180 member states including India, which is a founding member. Core focus areas: it focuses on rural economies, food security, nutrition, and empowerment of small farmers and rural communities, especially in least developed countries and small island developing states. SIDS. Financial support: IFAD provides low interest loans and grants for agricultural and rural development. Grant supports research, innovation, institutional reforms, and pro poor technologies, both global, regional, and country specific grants. Governance: the Governing Council is IFAD's highest decision making body and meets every 3 years. To the point: terms, initiatives, and news. Servile Forum on Debt. Context: recently, the Sevilla Forum on Debt was launched. About Sevilla Forum on Debt, launched by Spain at the 16th United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD 16, supported by UNCTAD and UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs, UNDISA. Purpose: to provide an inclusive platform for dialogue, action on sovereign debt reform. Origin: outcome of the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development, FFD4, part of Sevilla Platform for Action. Washington Accords for Peace and Prosperity. Context: Recently, the Washington Accord for Peace and Prosperity was signed between Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda, with the United States acting as facilitator. About Washington Accords for Peace and Prosperity. Background: the agreement comes after renewed attacks by Rwanda backed M23 rebels in eastern DRC, which triggered large scale displacement and heightened regional tensions. Purpose of the accord: the accord aims to rebuild trust between two nations and ensure lasting stability in mineral rich eastern regions of DRC, including Katanga, Kivu, and Ituri. Significance of the region: Eastern DRC is renowned for its vast mineral wealth, producing copper, cobalt, tin, tungsten, tantalum, gold, and diamonds. The DRC is the world's largest producer of cobalt, contributing around 70% of the global supply, making peace in the region critical for both local stability and global mineral market. Operation Sagar Bandhu. Context: India recently launched Operation Sagar Bandhu. About Operation Sagar Bandhu: purpose to provide humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, HADR, and search and rescue assistance to Sri Lanka after Cyclone Ditwa. Relief and evacuation: over 53 tons of relief material were delivered using IAF aircraft, 80-member NDRF team were deployed, and 2,000 plus stranded Indian nationals were evacuated. Strategic significance: the operation reflects India's neighborhood first policy and Vision Mahasagar, reinforcing its role as a first responder in Indian Ocean region. Pax Silica Initiative. Context: the United States has launched the Pax Silica Initiative with trusted allies to build a secure and resilient silicon and AI supply chain. Term meaning: Pax Silica combines Pax, a Latin word signifies peace and stability, with silica, the basis of silicon used in semiconductor chips. It symbolizes that control over silicon and supply chain will shape global stability and power in the AI era. About PAC Silica Initiative, it is a US led strategic initiative aimed at creating a secure, resilient, and innovation oriented silicon supply chain covering everything from critical minerals and energy to semiconductors, AI infrastructure, manufacturing, and logistics. Core objective: to strengthen and streamline global supply chain by building a trusted economic secure technology ecosystem based on the idea that economic security is integral to national security. Technology scope: the initiative focuses on securing complete technology stacks, including hardware, software platforms, AI models, and digital infrastructure. Inaugural members: the initiative includes 9 member countries: United States, Japan, South Korea, Singapore, the Netherlands, the United Kingdoms, Israel, the United Arab Emirates, and Australia. Note: India is not a member of this initiative as of yet. Aini Air Base. Context: India has withdrawn its personnel and equipments from the Aini Air Base in Tajikistan. About Aini Air Base, location and status. The Aini Air Base in Tajikistan was India's only full fledged overseas military base, developed and maintained for nearly 2 decades. Strategic importance: situated near Afghanistan Wakhan corridor, close to China's Xinjiang and Pakistan occupied Kashmir. It provided India with strategic access to Central Asia and intelligence advantages. Geopolitical role: the base enhanced India's regional influence in a zone dominated by Russia and China and offered a strategic edge vis a vis Pakistan. Reason for withdrawal: India stated that the bilateral agreement with Tajikistan ended and the Airbus was formally handed back in 2022. The lease was reportedly not renewed due to Russian and Chinese influence. Places in news, conflict regions in news. Cambodia, Odar Miche, Perar Viera, Bante Manche. Context: on 8 December 2025, the Thai military launched airstrikes against what is called Cambodian military targets. Geographical overview: located in mainland Southeast Asia, entirely within the tropics. Border: Cambodia is bordered by Thailand to the northwest, Laos to the north, Vietnam to the east, and has a 443-kilometer coastline along the Gulf of Thailand. Drainage: major water systems include Mekong River and Tonle Sap Great Lake. The Mekong River originates from the Tibetan Plateau, flowing southwards through the country. Tonle Sap is Southeast Asia's largest freshwater lake with a unique seasonal flow reversal connecting it to the Mekong. Madagascar, capital Antananarivo. Context: anti government protests led by Gen Z have caused the collapse of the government. Geographical overview: located in the Indian Ocean off the coast of Africa. Nearby islands: Mauritius, Reunion, French territory to the east, Mayotte, French territory, and Comoros to the northwest. Significance: Madagascar is the world's second largest island country. Biodiversity: around 90% of the country's unique plant and animal species are endemic, found nowhere else on the earth. Myanmar Sakai region. Context: over 1 million Rohingya Muslims from Myanmar have taken refuge in Bangladesh, where they face serious human rights violation. Geographical overview: located at the northwestern edge of mainland Southeast Asia. Borders: China, north and northeast, Laos, east, Thailand, southeast, Bangladesh, west, India, states of Mizoram, Manipur, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh in northwest. Adjacent water bodies: Andaman Sea, south, Bay of Bengal, southwest. Major mountain ranges: Rakhine Mountains, Shan Plateau, Duan Range, Tenasserim Mountains. Highest peak: Mount Hakakabo Razi. Principal rivers: Irrawaddy, Chinwin, Sitang, Salween, Yangon River. El Fasser, Sudan. Context: fighting has intensified in Al Fasser between Sudanese Armed Forces (SAF) and Rapid Support Forces (RSF). About El Fasser. Location: El Fasser is the capital of North Darfur State located in western Sudan. Strategic importance: it is one of the last major cities in Darfur not fully under RSF control. Ethnic composition: the region is home to multi ethnic communities, including the Fur, Zagwa, Masalit, and several Arab tribes. Countries/states in news: Benin, capital Porto Novo. Context: recently, a group attempted a coup in Kontu, Benin's largest city and administrative headquarters, but the effort failed. About Benin. Location: Benin is a West African country. Boundaries: land, shares boundaries with Niger, Nigeria, Togo, and Burkina Faso. Maritime: it is this to the south, it has a coastline along the Bight of Benin, part of the Gulf of Guiana in Atlantic Ocean. Geographical features: mountains. The Atakora Mountain in the northwest are an extension of the Togo Mountains. Highest mount, Mount Sogbaro. Major rivers: Niger and Oeme. Government: Benin is a presidential republic operating under a multi party democratic system. Guinea Bissau, capital Bissau. Context: recently, Guinea Bissau faced a military coup. About Guinea Bissau. Location: it is located in Western African on the Atlantic coast. It is one of the smallest countries in the African continent. Borders: land, Senegal to the north, Guinea, east and south, maritime Atlantic Ocean west. Major rivers: Giba, Korubal, Chachu, highest mount, Monte Torin. Angola, capital Luanda. Context: recently, the President of India is on a 4 day state visit to Angola, the first by an Indian president. About Angola. Location and coastline: Angola is located on the southwestern Atlantic coast of Africa with a long coastline along the Atlantic Ocean. Boundaries: it shares land boundaries with the Republic of Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Zambia, and Namibia. Physical geography: major rivers include the Kwanzaa and Kwango, while Mount Moko is the highest peak. Resources and waterfall: rich in petroleum and diamonds, notable features include the Kalandula waterfalls on Lucala River. Venezuela, capital Caracas. Context: recently, the US military launched large scale strikes inside Venezuela and captured its president. About Venezuela. Location: it is situated on the northern coast of South America. Land boundaries: it shares land boundaries with Guyana to the east, Brazil to the south, and Colombia to the west and southwest. Maritime extent: to the north, Venezuela is bounded by both Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. Physiography: Venezuela has diverse terrain comprising the Andes Mountain, Maracaibo lowlands in northwest, Llanos Central Plains, and Guiana Highlands and southeast. Drainage and water bodies. The country is drained mainly by Orinoco River, shared with Colombia, and Negro, shared with Colombia and Brazil, and it contains Maracaibo, the largest lake in South America. Natural resources: Venezuela possesses the world's largest proven oil resource, is rich in minerals such as coal, iron ore, bauxite, and gold. It hosts Angel Falls, world's highest waterfall located in Guiana Highlands. Highest point, Pico Bolivar. Somaliland. Recently, Israel officially recognized the self declared Republic of Somaliland as an independent and sovereign state. About Somaliland, location: situated in the Horn of Africa with strategic coastline along the Gulf of Aden, borders Djibouti, Ethiopia, Somalia, and Puntland region. Historical background: a former British protectorate, it gained independence on 26 June 1960, united with Italian Somaliland on 1st July 1960, and declared independence again in 1991 after Somalia's state collapse. Political status: functions as a de facto independent state, though it lacks widespread international recognition. Governance: has its own constitution, elected government, judiciary, security force, currency, and national symbols, combining democratic institutions with clan based mechanisms. Capital and legislature: capital is Hargeisa, features a bicameral legislature, including House of Elders, Gurti. Landforms in news: Haile Gubi volcano. Context: Ethiopia's Haile Gubi volcano has erupted after nearly 12,000 years, and its ash cloud is drifting towards western and northern India. About Haile Gubi volcano. Location: situated in Ethiopia's Afar region within Rift Valley, part of Eta Ele volcanic range. Tectonic setting: lies along the eastern edge of the East African Rift, a divergent boundary where the African and Arabian plates are gradually pulling apart. Type: a broad shield volcano formed by thin fluid lava flow, typically producing less explosive eruptions. Composition: dominated by dark basaltic lava, but also includes more silica rich rocks like tarshite and rhyolites. Mount Semeru, Indonesia. Context: the Sumere volcano erupted recently, sending a massive 6,500-foot ash plume into the atmosphere. About Mount Sumeru: it is the tallest volcano in the island of Java. The volcano lies along the Pacific Ring of Fire, a zone noted for intense tectonic and volcanic activity. Geologically, Mount Sumeru is classified as a stratovolcano. Note: Indonesia has witnessed recent eruptions from other volcanoes such as Mount Toby Laki Laki and Mount Merapi. Water bodies, passages, channels in news. Isthmus of Tehuantepec. Context: Isthmus of Tehuantepec came into news after a fatal derailment of interoceanic train in Oaxaca near Nizanda, killing at least 13 passengers. About Isthmus of Tehuantepec, location: a narrow land bridge in southern Mexico, mainly shared by the states of Veracruz and Oaxaca. Water bodies: lies between the Gulf of Tehuantepec, Pacific Ocean to the south, and the Gulf of Campeche, Gulf of Mexico to the north. Geographic significance: provides the shortest land route between Pacific Ocean and Gulf of Mexico, giving it major strategic importance. Anegada Passage. Context: as part of Operation Southern Spear, the United States deployed fighter jets and guided missile destroyers through Anegada Passage to counter narco terrorism in Caribbean. About the Anegada Passage: it is a marine channel in West Indies that links Atlantic Ocean with the Caribbean Sea. The passage lies between British Virgin Islands to the west and Leeward Islands to the southeast. It is one of the two main gateways for subsurface water flows into the Caribbean Sea, and other being the Windward Passage. India, Reboi District, Meghalaya. Context: researchers have identified a new species of fruit fly, Euphrantha undulata within the bamboo-rich ecosystem of Ri district in Meghalaya. About Ri district, Meghalaya, strategic location. Ri district contains an important stretch of National Highway 6, now NH16, which serves as the primary road link between Brahmaputra Valley of Assam and Shillong Plateau in Meghalaya. Demography: the district is predominantly inhabited by Khasi tribe. Chola and Dhokla passes. The Chola and Doklam passes, were opened for tourists on 15 December 2025 under the Bharat Ranbhumi Darshan initiative. About Chola Pass, location: a high altitude mountain pass in East Sikkim, situated in the eastern Himalayan along the India China border. Historical significance: sign of major military clash in 1967 between Indian Army and the Chinese People Liberation Army, resulting in a strategic victory for India. About Doklam Pass, a high altitude plateau at the tri junction of India, Bhutan, China, located in the Chumbi Valley. Historical significance came into global focus during the 2017 Doklam standoff, a 73-day military confrontation between Indian and Chinese forces. Koleru Lake. Context: Koleru Lake, known for its rich biodiversity, is also gaining recognition for its block dried fish, which has been found demand in both domestic and international market. About Koleru Lake, location and type: one of the largest freshwater lakes in India, located in Andhra Pradesh between Krishna and Godavari deltas near the city of Elluru. Hydrological role: acts as a natural flood balancing reservoir for Krishna and Godavari rivers, drains into Bay of Bengal via Uppeteru. Size and nature: covers about 308 square kilometers, expanding up to 954 square kilometers during floods. It is a shallow lake, the largest freshwater lake in Andhra Pradesh. Inflow sources: receives water from Budameru, Raimileru, Tamileru, and Iraklava River, along with 18 drains. Ecological importance: declared a wildlife sanctuary 1999 and a Ramsar site 2002, known as a bird heaven, supporting over 20 million migratory birds annually. Mudnaiyom Air Base, Ladakh. Context: the Chief of Air Staff inaugurated the Mudnaiyom Air Base in Ladakh. About Mudnaiyom Air Base, location and altitude: situated in the Naiyom Leh district of Ladakh at an altitude of 13,700 feet, 4,200 meters, making it India's highest fighter capable airfield and the fifth highest in the world. Strategic proximity: located 23 kilometers from the line of actual control with China, close to Pyongyang So, the Spang Plain, and Chushul Valley, providing tactical and logistical advantage for rapid military responses and enhanced surveillance. Construction and upgrade: developed and upgraded by Border Road Organization BRO. Udupi, Karnataka. Context: the Prime Minister visited Sri Krishna Mutt at Udupi, highlighting Udupi's importance as the birthplace and center of Dvait philosophy propounded by Jagadguru Madhavacharya. About Udupi, Karnataka, religious identity: Udupi is popularly known as Temple City and the Mathura of South India because of its strong religious and cultural importance. Sri Krishna Mutt, the most prominent landmark of Udupi, dedicated to Lord Krishna in the form of Balakrishna, infant Krishna. Philosophical significance: the Sri Krishna Mutt was established in 13th century by Sri Madhavacharya, the founder of Dvaitvad Vedant school of philosophy. Cultural region: Udupi forms part of the Tulunadu region along with Dakshin Kannada. Folk traditions: it is a major center of Tulunadu folk art such as Yakshganga, Nang Angne, serpent worship, Nag Nag, okay, Kambala, buffalo race, Saranda Forest, Jharkhand. Context: the Supreme Court has provided relief to the Jharkhand government regarding the proposal to notify Saranda as a wildlife sanctuary. About Saranda Forest, geographical setting: Saranda is recognized as Asia's largest continuous sal forest, situated on the Chotanagpur Plateau at an elevation of around 600 to 1000 meters. The region includes Thalkoban Peak, 690 meters, Ecology and climate. Around 70% of the forest canopy is dominated by shal, Soria robusta. The area receives an average annual rainfall of nearly 1600 millimeters during the monsoon. Mineral resources. Saranda is rich in iron ore, with major mining areas such as Kiruburu and Meghalburu. Social cultural profile. The forest region is predominantly inhabited by Ho tribe, which constitutes about 90% of the local population.